What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Zbeck today, ZBCN USD. It is the 11th day of August, and here we are at about $0.0016 with roughly 10 hours, 52 minutes left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Let's get into it, okay? Moving down, seeing relatively lower lows day after day here, looking like you do want to go lower. However, you are at a very serious point of interest here, where we did find some immaculate support that kicked you off a very nice move over the months to come. We have been moving down more or less in a straight line for quite some time here, and volume is dying off. It's depleting. It's giving me that kind of assumption, that vibe, that we might see a bounce come in at some point here, right? We were calling for this back here, didn't come in. We actually moved lower. We've been bearish since, but now I'm getting again that kind of bullish inclination. I was thinking that you might bounce here because you're finding support, prior resistance. It just didn't happen. There was no interest. But nothing moves down in a straight line forever. Nothing moves up in a straight line forever. I mean, it's possible that you could go lower here, but I would assume whether it's here or just below this low, you will see some type of upward volatility that'll come in. Volume's dying off as you're moving lower. We need to build that interest to sell, right? And the best way to get interest in selling would be you get people to get their hopes up, and then that hope is diminished. You're back at the same price. You have even less hope than you did whenever you were back here before. And you'll entice people who thought about selling here who didn't. They'll sell here. You'll entice people who bought up here to sell down here. It's just going to add selling pressure. People who take profits up here, who maybe they buy back in just on the speculation alone, and then it goes lower, and then they sell, whatever. You need that fuel to push you lower if you want to go lower. And I do think that you're going to go lower. I think Zbeck has a ways to go to the downside. I believe that we're going to see lower lows, new all-time lows altogether, and that's going to take time. But again, make no mistake, from here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some type of a, let's call it a relief rally. Not anything that's like this, not what you've seen over the past couple months, not these little pumps. I mean something that's a little bit more distinguished. Something like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Something that's got a little bit more excitement to it than just an 8%, a 4% day to the upside, something like that. From a high to a low, and I would take this low, if we bounced here, I would take this low first. 0.0233, and maybe even just above there stands out, right? Prior support, prior resistance back here. It makes sense. Maybe you go a little bit lower, and then that 382 level is a little bit lower as well, 0.0022, but something above 0.002 I believe is coming your way. From the current price, 0.0022, that's a 30% pump. Yeah, I think you've got a 30% or more pump coming your way. It could start today. It could be by the time you're watching this video, we're already pumping up there. It could be sometime over the next 2 weeks. I don't know, but something of that nature, something that breaks you out of this downtrend, gets you excited before moving to that next lower phase. That's my expectation. I think I think you'll see that soon. If not, if Bitcoin just tanks like I'm expecting it to, you can see how I've drawn it here. If it tanks beforehand, maybe Zbeck just tanks with it. Again, the overall idea is that you will go lower. I'm not touching this thing. I'm not looking to buy it at all, not until it's at new all-time lows, and then I will go heavy. I'll go heavy. I'll buy all your bags. The people that bought up here, I'm going to buy all their bags down here. Right? We made that deal. We agreed. We shook hands. That was the arrangement. So that's what's going to happen. But still, even with that, I think that there is a potential short-term play to make here. I'm not going to make the play because I would rather wait. I'd rather wait for the long-term stuff than play in the short-term stuff with this. Looking at this on the 1 hour time frame, speaking of short-term stuff, the RSI, stochastics, MACD, they all look very bearish. No signs of like reversal. Not on the 4 hour either. It looks pretty bearish. So again, maybe you move a little bit lower, but you look at the daily time frame, there is some bullish divergence going on. You've gone from this lower low, lower high trend to kind of moving sideways now, and then typically from there you start moving up. So you've got the right basis set up to shift things around a little bit. That doesn't mean that you're going to go to new all-time highs, but again, maybe break out of this downtrend momentarily, and then that's where you'll top off. Stochastics are oversold. You've been beat up for quite a while. You could stay here forever, but typically you don't stay here this long and then continue to stay this long, right? The tide will turn, things will cycle through, and you'll go from your bearish phase to your bullish phase. That's the idea. The MACD is pretty beat up as well. I mean, you definitely don't look the best here. There's no signs of reversal. The only reason I'm calling for any kind of momentary relief at all is because of this price area that you're at right now. Prior area of support where you saw some serious reaction. What I would expect if you're finding support at a level like this, you do something like this, and then you're going to break through it inevitably. I wouldn't expect that you just break through it in the first go. I would think that you probably find support somewhere around this level, and it's weaker, right? This was really strong. This will be a strong move, but it'll be weaker, and then weaker, and then weaker, and then you break through. Something like that. It doesn't have to happen that way. Just because that makes sense to me doesn't mean it has to be. But again, here you found resistance, and it was a pretty strong rejection down, then a weaker rejection, then a weaker rejection, then you broke through. That kind of idea. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's where my brain's going right now. Anyways, Zbeck, Zebecians, you've got a long road ahead. It's not fun for anything to go down, and it's not fun to think about selling for a loss if any of you are selling for a loss. This was your opportunity. This was what we were talking about back here at this low point, that there would be an opportunity for most people to get out either clean or at a slightly less loss than what they have now, or at a significantly lesser loss than they had down here. Right? You went up more than halfway from the high to the low there. I would think most people who've invested in Zbeck over the past couple of years were probably in a very solid position to get out. If you took that position, if you took that opportunity to get out, good job. If you didn't, if you bought here, if you've been holding through, I mean, it's well past early to sell. You're definitely late to the selling party here. And I think at this point, if you wait, ideally, you will get at least a 30% or more pump from here. Take that opportunity to get out. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Maybe even sell on the way up in little bits, DCA out at like 20% gains from here, or 30% or 40%. I don't know. I don't know how high it's going to go. I just expect that at least a 30% pump is possible from here. It's even statistically kind of got a good chance of doing that. But I also believe that in time, we will go below this low. You will see prices that are at 0011. You will see prices that are at 0008 and below. And with that from here, that's another 30% to 50% drop and beyond. It's still not too late to position yourself in a way that makes this price action more advantageous for you. If you have $100 in Zbeck here and you sell it, it pumps up without you. Oh no, that sucks. That hurts, right? $100 in Zbeck, then it comes back down. If it drops to a point where it's down 50% or more, now what was $100 would be worth $50. What's $100 can buy twice the amount of Zbeck. You can literally double your Zbeck position if you just wait and you have time. And if you're strategic about it, you might be able to more than double it if you can sell at the right area on this pump, if this pump comes. I'm assuming that it's going to come. I don't think that you're just going to move down in a straight line. Just because it makes sense to me, just because it makes sense to you, doesn't mean it has to happen. This could just fall through the floor. I do plan on buying some at new all-time lows. I do think that that's where we're going to go. I think that's what's going to test everybody. It's going to build the most conviction. And then from there, I suspect that in time, and it probably won't look like this at all, but over the years to come, in 2028, 2029, we should see new all-time highs. It's 2026. It's August 2026. Probably mid to late 2028, if not past that, that will be when Zbeck sees new all-time highs. It's going to be time. It's going to take a lot of time. So if you're not on board with selling, at least get on board with the idea of waiting to buy. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Don't buy the pumps. Don't buy on the excitement. Buy in the despair. I'll see you on the next one. Hit that like button. None of this is financial advice, just genuine opinions. Bye-bye.